Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather, and this is Henry, and this is Create Your Own Cozy. On today's video, I am going to be using milk paint. I was honestly, I've been tired this week between recovering from our spring break trip and having a very busy Easter weekend. I've had a tough time getting going this week. So I got inspired by this item I got from the thrift store a while ago for $6.99. And guys, this thing is like, it was ugly. $6.99, and in my mind I was like, this is totally an ugly duckling thrift flip. So I got it and I said to myself, challenge accepted. So I decided this week that I was going to try to flip this item. And since I had the milk paint out, I did 4 other items on top of that with the milk paint. So if you want to see how these guys turned out, stick around. So let's get started with the item that got me moving this week. I got this big monstrosity for like $6.99. And I picked it up knowing like it was big, that it had that on its side, but like the components of it were really good quality, like the picks and the artichokes, like it was all really good quality. It's past its heyday. So I popped out this moss thing and I'm gonna reuse it. And I decided to try the milk paint because I wanted this to look like crusty, just lots of movement and interesting stuff. So I used the color Flour Sack, and it was a 1-to-1 ratio. This whole thing was $15.50, and I did a 1-to-1 ratio of warm water to milk paint powder, and then I stirred it up really well and let it sit for a couple minutes. Some people say 2 to 10 minutes. It just really depends on the consistency you end up getting and the consistency that you want. I used this really watered down consistency the first time, and it was good for a base layer, and it didn't do a total lot of crackling, but I ended up mixing another batch that was a little thicker, and I noticed like the thicker you mix the batch, I tried to get the crackling a little bit with the hairdryer and to kind of move this project along. He did not like the hairdryer and was barking at the hairdryer. No dogs were tortured during this video. But the thicker I made the stuff, the more it crackled. That was just my experience on some of these projects. But you can see I just kind of get the pieces that'll flake off on their own off, and then I do go over it with some sandpaper. And then I decided I wanted a little bit of color in here, and this is just a regular, my farmhouse paint. You could use anything you wanted to add a little bit of color so that when I do the next coat, it's going to flake off and have a little bit of color underneath and have some depth and dimension. You can see this is a really more watery thing, but it does make the finish like a nice milky smooth finish. And then I put a dark wax over the top of it so that you could see all the crackles, and I really like how it turned out. I ended up putting lavender sprigs in here, and I did get these this season at Walmart, 97 cents per pick, and then I ended up cutting those down to kind of spread them out a little bit more. And I used a total of 4 picks in this arrangement. So I have always loved those old crusty, rusty scales. I am a firstborn and I love justice and I love what this scale represents. I got this at the thrift store. It was like a mass-produced thing. It was listed at $15, but I was buying some furniture that day and used my 25% off coupon, so it was $11.25. So I was like, you know what? I've always loved these. Let's give this a shot. So I had the milk paint out and was not thinking, put it straight over the shiny metal. And as you can see, it just pulled right off. And I will be the first to tell you that even though I've made and upcycled a lot of things, I still make mistakes. So I wanted to show it to you because, you know, we're all human. So this is what I did. I grabbed that farmhouse paint that I used on the other project, and I had that stick to all the shiny spaces, and it's going to be a color that's underneath. Now, I do know that if you don't want to do this method, that there is a Simple Bond. It's a bonding agent that they sell that you can mix in your milk paint to make it adhere a little bit better. But I decided after I saw just the black and white that I did want another color, so this was my solution for that. And I went over the project just very haphazardly, did not do full coverage, just wanted it to kind of be on there so that the milk paint would stick to these areas, stick to some of the black, and some of it rubbed off. So this was kind of my plan. After I started doing this, I realized that I wanted it to be a little bit textured, so I was really sloppy, and that's kind of the fun thing about this milk paint and these looks of like it was old and found, is that you can be a little sloppy, like it's been done 3 or 4 times. Now, milk paint, you need to make small batches and then just make multiple batches when you're ready, because it does harden pretty quick, and I am surprised about how hard it gets. Like, I can see why this was used a long time ago as a paint, because it is a very hard thing once it finally cures. So I mixed up another batch and I let it drip, and I was okay with it. So this is what it looks like while it's wet, and I just left it like that. I did end up going over it with sandpaper. I left some of the bumps and the ridges, and one thing that I think really helped with this look, if you want it to be old and crusty, is to, especially with the white paint, is I used that dark wax, and so you could just very subtly see all the cracks, and it makes it look like it's been sitting around forever instead of this like crispy white freshly painted thing. So I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I don't know where it's gonna go yet, whether I'm gonna sell it or keep it, but I am glad that I gave this type of project a try. Now for this project, I am just going to use an old cutting board I got from the thrift store. I think I got this one for free, but I think some of them were like $1. But it's a fun shape. I just used one coat of this milk paint, just one, and sanded it back. I'm noticing and I'm learning that like this raw wood, one coat kind of gets the look I want because you can get kind of the wood coming through. And you just have to play with each project to see what your preference is. And I like that it's kind of a learning process, you know, kind of like life. So I decided to get my brocant transfer out from the IOD. I have been avoiding using this particular transfer. Decided this was a good spot to do it, and I'm pretty happy with how she turned out. She was like my least favorite. I love this book. If you guys are looking to buy anything, IOD brocant transfer. Love this book. This one and the little Paris thing is probably my least favorite transfer, but I really liked how it turned out. So when you get the milk paint mixed, be ready to just pick up some projects. I had a little bit left on this one batch. I went down to the basement. These are 3 frames that my friend Jenny handed to me for free, and I'm not a big bold color type gal, so I decided to use up some of the leftovers I had in this batch and do 2 coats of the milk paint, and then sand it down. Give it a while to sit. I mean, this is the thing. You can't control how much a milk paint is going to crackle or peel away from each project. It kind of just does what it wants to do. And I kind of like it because it's like, well, you can't mess it up because it's going to do what it wants to do anyway. I did sand off the edges so that some of the color can come through. As you can see, this one's a little bit more opaque. That must have been a watery mix. So it's just kind of a way to kind of practice. And then I put the dark wax on it, or the dark oil on it, so that you could see the crackles. And I think I'm going to put these in my booth as is without anything in them and see how they do. All right, so for the last project of this video, I almost gave up and started something new. I got this for free off of Facebook Marketplace, and I'm going to use it in the basement to stage my finished items, but I didn't want to use it like this. So I went down there with the remnants of a batch of milk paint and started. And guys, look how... I mean, I was like, what am I doing? Do I have the time to do this before this video is done? But after 2 to 3 coats and a night of drying, I went down this morning, sanded it down, and this is exactly what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to look like it was like this old piece of furniture that grandma painted a couple times, and I thought it would look really nice with some really nice glassware on it, like, you know, fancier or collections, but have that dingy thing in the background. And again, this was not for the booth, this is just for my basement, but in my mind I wanted it to still look nice down here. So Full disclosure, I did not put any sealer on it yet, which it does need. I'm either going to go over it with like a Rust-Oleum clear coat, just have to bring it upstairs to do that, or like a Minwax clear wax, but the milk paint does need to be sealed. But I staged it up for you. I know there's still price tags on it. This is my staging room. But I thought, like, look how good this looks with this beautiful blue and white stuff on it with the crusty stuff in the background. I just think it looks nice. I might do some dark wax on top of it too, just to make it look older. But it's exactly how I wanted it to turn out. Finished it right at the end, and I think this free toy box looks so much better, and I'm going to enjoy staging my stuff. So did you guys have a favorite project? I hope that you got inspired to grab the things that are a little wonky at the thrift store and be like, well, what do I have to lose? At least it's a project that I can enjoy myself while I'm trying to upcycle it. And on the upside, it can be sold or used in your house if it turns out really well. So I hope that I inspired you to look around your house or look at things differently when you go to the thrift store. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I would love it if you like this video to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite project was. If you're enjoying my content and are not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bells to all so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. Guys, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me. I'll see you next time. Bye.